This is ESPN Esports. My name is Arda Ocal, and joining us right now via Skype is Hungrybox. Yes, he is the #1 ranked Melee player in the world, but he wears many hats. He is also a Smash Ultimate commentator and analyst, and that's what we will be talking about here right now. Hungrybox, thanks for joining us.
It's my pleasure to be here.
So let's talk a little Smash Ultimate. The last big tournament that we saw was Super Smash Con in Virginia. MKLeo doing it again. That Game 4, man, I tell you, there's something about that. It's like the Jordan Game 6. How does he keep doing this?
So we're noticing this to be a phenomenon now that no one has ever really managed to do. It really is a question of being comfortable in that position, right? So when it comes to being a top-level competitor, sure, there's tons of top players you can name, tons of people who have already won tournaments in Smash Ultimate. But MKLeo has been in that seat more than anyone, right? So when you are that close to winning or that close to losing, I feel like the reality sets in, right? Whether you were Sam Sora at SmashCon or Tweak at Evo, when you're one hit away with everything in your favor from winning the biggest title of your career, reality starts to set in and you start fishing a little too hard. And I think that's what we saw. But MKLeo is quite simply put, and I've said this many times, on a different level. He is able to know exactly what finishing option you're going to go for when it matters the most, and he's going to be able to sense your urgency on how badly you want to finish that set and capitalize it. Once you get one kill, it leads to another, right? And the big thing that Leo does is he, more than anyone else in the world, obviously by far the best Joker, but in that he's also by far the best user of Arsene. Arsene is a comeback factor, and the way you get Arsene easily is by charging it up, right? Using your counter. And so he's able to find the options you're going to go for and use that charge right when he needs the most. So he's actually able to get Arsene out more than any other player. And Arsene fundamentally is better than any character in the cast. The damage output, the recovery, the way you can use a projectile side B, the way you can the combo and chain people and kill at early percents. I think we saw something ridiculous. I think we saw Sam Sora dying at maybe 50 or 60%, I believe, on Battlefield in that regard. And we thought it was over. Both times everyone thought it was over, but it wasn't, because he says, if you want to beat me, you need to get one big hit, but on Arsene. And the way I move with this character, you're not going to be able to predict it. So he finds exactly what he needs. He takes advantage of your nerves, your urgency, and he uses Arsene to an immaculately perfect degree and does as much damage output as the character is designed to put. It's just the most beautiful play in Ultimate you can really ask for.
MKLeo is such a calm competitor for such a young guy, right? I mean, he's been in this situation twice in the last 2 weeks that we saw at EVO and Super Smash Con. And yeah, you mentioned one side of the equation, how reality sets in for his opponents, but I've even asked Leo, like, what do you think in those moments? And he's not able to really describe it. If you were to try to put it into words what Leo's thinking in those moments and how he stays calm, how would you describe it?
You know, Leo, he is a humble guy. I think he just was a kid who loved playing Brawl, was really, really good. Then he was really good at Smash 4. He became, after Zero retired, he became the best at Smash 4 for a bit. And now he's by far the best at Smash Ultimate. He's just a prodigy of talent. He just understands Smash at a very, very fundamental level. He has a textbook in his head and he follows it for all his options. But for me, you know, being in that chair, it's very different, I feel, because being the best, it's something that you work for years and years, and I feel like he was able to achieve it far more quickly than I was. And for me, I have a lot of pent-up emotion, a lot of pent-up memories whenever I'm in that chair. I have a lot of, a lot of thoughts and feelings which come towards facing certain opponents, and I have to make sure I harbor those thoughts. I push them down to make sure I can focus solely on the play. When Leo's playing, no one really hates the guy at all. No one dislikes him. I think he's a very liked person. The only thing that's disliked currently is Joker, but even that argument to me is bunk, because barely anyone uses that character. He just, I think he knows that he's gifted, and that he knows he was, born with a blessing or born with an understanding of being able to pick up Smash at such a fast rate, and he doesn't take it for granted ever for a second. He comes from limited means, similar to Zero, from his family in Mexico. I believe he was supporting his family through playing Smash, so he knows how important this is, and I think he knows that this is a very unique opportunity for anyone. It's literally a 1 in a billion chance for a kid like him, and so he doesn't want to lose it. He doesn't want to take it for granted, and so he shows up, plays his best game, and wins. And he's won the past 4 S tiers in doing that. You don't get that kind of talent. He's a generational talent, and it's a once in a lifetime sort of esports athlete that you're witnessing.
And you just mentioned there MKLeo's dominance with Joker since Joker was released in the game as a DLC over the course of the lifespan of Smash Ultimate. Really, what do you think this means for the character? Is Nintendo paying attention and saying, maybe Joker's a little OP, we got a nerf?
Um, there's always been a back and forth question as to how much Nintendo pays attention to competitive tournament results, like the real tournaments, versus their data, which is based upon win-loss records of characters on Elite Play, on online, even their free-for-all things. Their initial nerfs based on that, right? That's why we saw these interesting changes to like characters like Little Mac, King K. Rool, characters that you wouldn't really expect that for. I think they got nerfed actually. Um, but when you look at competitive play, the big thing that's an indicator that they are watching was, of course, Bayonetta in Smash 4. We saw a radically different Bayonetta in this game in terms of nerfs. Still a decent, good character, still a character that can win tournaments, but that was going from one entire title to another, 4 to 5. That's a huge change. They can change as much as they want there. They can change fundamentally how characters work, like, Jigglypuff, which is just a back air. She now turns around, completely changing the way that character functions. They can do that. But what they can't do in patches and nerfs is change the fundamentals of moves, right? All they can do is change the properties of moves. Maybe slightly tweak the damage output, the knockback, the hitboxes. They can tweak those. They can't change the character's fundamental animations, though, and how they move. That's the one thing about nerfs and patches. So when you have a character like Joker, what you can do is nerf Arsene if they wanted to. They can sure make his back air weaker, make the properties of Arsene weaker, and yeah, it'll be a lot harder to win with that character if that was the case. But here's the question: why should they? MKLeo has won Genesis with Ike and Lucina. He's won with an array of characters in multiple games. He's gotten good with every character that he's touched, whether he feels like it or not. And now he's playing Joker, which seems to fit him the best any character has ever fit him. And we saw what he did at Evo. You saw it at SmashCon. You see those Game 4 clutch situations. Name me any other player that can do that on the field with that character. I'm going to give you a hint. There is none. It is not the character. It is Leo. And I don't think until someone usurps him or until another player starts showing up that hard with that character, I don't think it's fair to nerf that character. Maybe slightly. Maybe there's certain things which might think, maybe Arsene's a little too powerful, and at most a slight nerf. But I think even with a slight nerf, Leo's still going to dominate the scene. He's still going to prove why he won the past 4 S tiers. There's no one quite like him. And it's not to say people haven't gone close. Samsora and Tweak, 1 hit away from winning their S tiers. So if they're 1 hit away with characters which are considered worse than Joker, with Pokemon Trainer, and Peach/Daisy considered, you can argue better or worse than Joker. Some people say different things. But if they can almost do it, then let's calm down for a second and realize this is nowhere near the problem that Bayonetta was in Smash 4, where you had half the top 8s being populated by this character. This is a MKLeo being incredible.
Yeah, and you mentioned it. I mean, MKLeo had incredible losers bracket runs at both EVO and Super Smash Con. His next tournament will be Shine. I did hear a couple of rumblings at Super Smash Con that maybe Leo had been practicing a secondary character. Maybe we'll see it at the next tournament. He sort of intimated it on the stream after winning as well. What do you think? Do you think he stays with Joker, or does he experiment a little at Shine?
I heard 2 things. I heard Chrom being one secondary, which is just fundamentally a worse character than Joker. But players like Rivers, previously known as Shoyo James, and I believe Mr. R as well, have shown a lot of proficiency with that character. Huge damage output, explosive combos, very, very strong swordsman. You can take advantage of his recovery a lot, but you can also use his recovery to get early kills and gimps. He's a very unique character, and in Leo's hands would be absolutely devastating. But I also heard a rumor that he wanted to play Hero. I think him playing Hero, and of course this gets back to politics a little bit because there's always politics in sports. If he was to play Hero, it would be a very, very bad idea for him because the stress, if he was to win a tournament with Hero and, use some of the RNG factors the character has, you put together Leo's incredible awareness and fundamentals in Smash, and then also with a character that, when played correctly, when you have really fast reaction time and use them properly, can just wipe out and annihilate your opponent with what's considered an RNG, a gamble roll, using menu options, using critical hits. So if Leo was to win a tournament using a critical hit, that would be over. I think the calls for bans would be more loudly than ever. But if he does it with Joker, right, another really good character, the bans aren't as prevalent, right? Because the fundamentals of the character Joker aren't based on RNG. They're based upon how fast is your reaction, how well can you use Arsene, how well can you bring out Arsene, right? Everyone says, oh, Arsene's broken, he's so powerful, this and that. But think about it. What do you need to do to pull out Arsene? You need to charge your meter. You need to get that up. You need to find ways to bring him out. And that's what Leo's better at. The game is rewarding him for being good at that. So it's not just, oh, look how crazy strong Arsene is. Of course he's strong, but Leo brings him out more than anyone. Hero, on the other hand, you can run up to someone, and yes, in practice, if you match down B, you have a 1 in, I believe, 8 chance of annihilating your opponent completely. People have brought counter arguments to that. Game & Watch with a 9 hammer magnitude, it's the same thing. That's a 1 in 9 chance. Actually, that's also 1 in 8 chance because you can charge it with a different number, and then the game can't do the same one twice, I'm pretty sure. But with Hero, there's criticals. He also has an incredibly powerful side B and neutral B. His aerial games are a little bit weak. His aerials, his normals, his forward air, his back air take a lot longer to come out than most characters would expect, and he's not very fast. And I think that's the big limiting factor of Hero. And as a reminder, at SmashCon, the highest placing hero we saw was Salem as a secondary, who lost to Leffen. So let's wait and see is my qualm. And the issue is, though, back to your question, if MKLeo does play Hero and he starts winning with Hero, it's all going to depend on the way which he wins. But let's be honest, the way he won with Hero is using a magic spell and being aware too. Back to what I was saying with Joker. Yes, the game rewards him for bringing Arsene out more than ever. Maybe the game will also reward him for being able to react to those menu options faster than anyone, and people will be too blindsided and frustrated to see that it's not always the character, it's also the incredible talent of Leo.
Hungrybox, before we let you go, let's do a little bit of a Smash Ultimate Tournament preview. Shine is this weekend from Worcester, Mass. MKLeo does have some big competition, looking for a 3rd consecutive victory. 60 seconds, give us your preview.
Well, I have the final bracket pulled up here, projection. You've got the 4 main heavy hitters, right? In Melee, you have the Gods of Smash. In this game, they're being formed as well. But right now, projected, you have MKLeo versus Mars playing in semis, and then Tweak versus Samsora also on the other side of semis. So projected, you're going to have an MKLeo Tweak Classic Winners Finals. But you know how volatile the game can be. You know how quickly people improve on it. So for MKLeo to get to his point, he has to beat Scat, who is a very, very good, Snake and Mega Man player. But he also has to beat Esam. And Esam is one of the few players who've actually had MKLeo's number. So he has a hard bracket getting there. But then again, MKLeo has dropped to losers very, very often, and we've seen what happens in the past 2 events when he goes to losers. So that's not counting him out at all. And then you have Mars versus Nairo, which at this point is a classic matchup that is usually in Mars's favor. So that's projected pretty standard. And then Tweak and Samsora, the two runner-ups for the past 2 events, they're projected to fight in semis. Now, the issue with this is that Samsora has to go over MVD and Light, both players with a lot of experience in the Peach matchup, and then Tweak has to fight Puppet and DeBuzz and Goblin. So these are not easy brackets by any means. They're projected to win, but I do feel like, given their drive and given the fact that they were so close to winning these past events, they're probably more motivated than ever. So I think that the bracket is not going to play out as expected. I do think Tweak and Samsora are going to make it to their side, but I think MKLeo is not going to make it to his side. And I could actually see Mars in that case being in grand finals, because Mars has shown that he can beat MKLeo and probably beat a lot of other players too. I had an early prediction that if anyone's going to knock MKLeo off of his #1 rank, it's not going to be Tweak, it's going to be Mars by the end of the year. So that's kind of where I'm seeing it. And this, of course, will be another tournament to prove whether or not that prediction is accurate.
ESPN Esports will be on the ground at Shine with continued coverage. Hungrybox joining us via Skype. Thank you very much for your time.
Happy to be here. Thank you.